Yo, guys, what is happening? I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. The time has come for one of the streams that we've been, one of the most anticipated streams I've had on my channel, actually, for quite some time. I'm with Citizen Historian. What's happening?
Yeah, good.
So I just call you Garrett or Citizen Historian?
Yeah, you can call me Mr. Historian. Nah, Garrett is fine.
Yeah, with Garrett. Garrett is a historian from Stellenbosch University, and we are going to be playing Jurassic World Evolution. We're even Skyping in somebody else called Viktorsaurus. Should I call him Viktorsaurus?
Yeah, just call him the Vic.
Should I call him the Vic? Right now, you can see him on screen. Vic, say hi to everybody.
Hey guys, how's it going?
We played a little bit of the game yesterday. Let's just get into it. But as a means of introduction, first, Garrett, could you just quickly explain to everybody while I load up and fix my park because it's all broken? Like, what do you do and where you're from? And
Sure. Okay, so as mentioned, my name is Garrett. I run an initiative called Citizen Historian. You can find me on Facebook. I'm mostly active there at the moment. My intention is to bring history to the people through kind of a pop sci perspective. So I'm looking at doing history through innovative means, doing new ways of doing things. For example, here we are playing a game. We're going to be talking about the dinosaurs. We've got Victor talking to us about paleontology and the science there. We're going to be using this game to explore all these different themes. We're going to be talking about fossil history, colonial history. There's tons of stuff to talk about. My entire thing is to try and just make history less boring, more interesting, and that's why we're here.
thank you. And Victor, give us a little bit of a rundown of yourself and what you do, where you're from.
Cool, so my name is Victor Rademacher and I am a master's student at Wits University. I am currently studying a little dinosaur called Hinds, which is currently the ancestor of things like Gallimimus and Struthiomimus.
What? Is it a South African dinosaur?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Say the name again?
Hinds.
Ignabosaurus.
Yeah,
That
I
is
like that.
that's so
More, man.
dope, man. Jeez, that is so freaking dope.
Hinds. It's a proudly South African
Ignabosaurus.
little theropod. So before my work on Hinds, sorry, I then studied a little dinosaur called Heterodontosaurus, which is also a South African dinosaur. And we currently think that is the ancestor of things like Triceratops and Stegosaurus and Pachycephalosaurus. All the really cool things with horns and spikes. I'm studying the great granddaddy of those guys. I love dinosaurs. I love studying about dinosaurs, especially their physiology.
Well, what got you into paleontology in the first place, Victor? Besides a childhood love of dinosaurs, because I think that's everyone.
Well, that's my answer, right? It's like it's not that I have to justify why I'm in paleo. I think the rest of the planet has to justify why they are not in paleo. I think it's just the coolest thing. I mean, going out into the field, finding things that no human has ever laid eyes on before is a feeling that you cannot compare to anything.
Right.
And standing on the footsteps of ancient organisms and seeing how they ran and what they were avoiding, how fast they were running. It's just piecing together past lives. I think it's phenomenal.
See, it's interesting you say that because obviously I'm in the social sciences, and even though I study history, I do dabble a bit in the anthropology, archaeology side, and that is exactly my motivation as well. When I pick up an artifact that hasn't been handled by humans in thousands of years or whatever, it's the same kind of feeling. I'm like, oh, someone held this, or someone was here, or I see cave art. Exact same feeling. So I get you completely.
I mean, my first field site that I ever went to, we came across rock paintings and we came across little bits of pottery, and even though that isn't really my thing, it still totally gave me goosebumps. It's like, wow, like there was a whole civilization here that isn't here anymore, and it just I don't know, it did something. It was just mind blowing.
Okay, so I've built 3 raptors. I've enclosed them in the most heavy cage that I can. Look at it. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Right? This game is just beautiful. And I love the sound effects.
It's so cool to look at.
Victor, we've been talking about this a lot. A question from Clojo Mofo77, which we've discussed before. Velociraptors in the movie versus what they actually are.
Very good question.
Yeah, the question is basically were they the size of turkeys, or in the movie they made them bigger? Is this true? And if you'll permit me, I think I can answer that, and then you can add in some extra info there.
So Garrett, go ahead. You do that one, and I'll relish in some details of it.
Great. Okay, so I did look all of this up regarding the movie, and basically what happened was that Steven Spielberg, in the first movie, he loved the name Velociraptor, but yes, the actual Velociraptor is basically a turkey-sized type dinosaur. and he liked the look of, and if you'll help me with the pronunciation here, Deinonychus or Deinonychus?
Deinonychus, right?
Deinonychus. And
Son, I still got it.
I always get it wrong.
Hey, nice one.
So he liked the look of the Deinonychus and decided to basically just have a Deinonychus type model, obviously altered a bit for the movie, and have the name Velociraptor on it, and that's what stuck. So I hope that answers your question, Clojo Mofo. And Victor, with any more info, you're welcome.
Yes, so not only was Velociraptor a very different sized animal, it also looked very different to what Deinonychus looks like. So Deinonychus looks a lot like what you see inside Jurassic Park with Jurassic Park's Velociraptor. But the real Velociraptor, Velociraptor mongoliensis, had a much more narrow snout, and it wasn't quite as high. It would have been the equivalent of a jackal in its ecosystem, but it definitely would have been a death turkey.
Death turkey.
These raptors death turkeys, because they would have been covered in feathers. They would have maybe flocked together or been somewhat communal. So Velociraptor looked very different to what Deinonychus looks like, but they were both raptors. They were both dromaeosaurs. That both had those death claws on their feet. And in fact, the Velociraptor in Jurassic Park is actually even a little bigger than Deinonychus.
Oh.
Deinonychus is still fairly small, but it is bigger than Velociraptor.
Clever girl.
Another one from Kim at COE Paleo. Do we know about the dinosaur brain size and organization? Could they be trained like the Velociraptors in the movie? Now that's an interesting question.
Ooh, that is a very, very good question, actually. And so things like Velociraptor actually weren't too bright. I mean, you only need to be that much smarter than your prey, and if your prey is a little dumb, then you don't need to.
No, you've ruined it for me, bro.
But there's a caveat to that. So when we look at the endocasts of some dinosaurs, we see that they have a very simple brain, and it doesn't occupy much space inside the head, and they just have enough for what they need to do with. Having intelligence like ours is an evolutionary.
What's unnecessary for them, basically. It was necessary for our.
Yeah, there's some debate on that even, because I mean, animals get by just fine without a complicated brain.
So maybe ours was more of an anomaly.
Ours really was anomalous, but the thing is that we weren't the only things with big brains, but we can get to that just now.
Right.
But when it comes to dinosaurs with big brains, there are a family of dinosaurs called Troodontid. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with
Yes, because some of my favorite conspiracy theories when I was younger was that, well, not conspiracy theory, but alternate history, was that if the dinosaurs hadn't died out, the ruling race would essentially be like these reptilian type creatures called.
I remember seeing.
Yeah,
that.
you've seen that before. It's insane.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know if you've ever seen the picture. I'll see if I can find it. It's absolutely incredible.
Dino sapien.
Yeah, exactly. And I had a really interesting debate with a science fiction writer before, where he was saying that if we encounter alien life, it's all going to be descendants of dinosaur-type creatures. We are the anomaly because of a meteor.
Yes, that is
whereas
just.
everything else in the universe is more going to be standard of a reptilian-type species, which I find fascinating.
I disagree.
Do you?
Yeah, I disagree in that if we find intelligent life, it will be dinosaur grade.
It'll be insectoid. Don't even come here.
Insectoid, yeah. I found the picture.
Do this.
Look at that.
This is pretty disgusting.
That's what we could have been had we only tried.
That is the worst thing on earth.
Next question. This is a movie-based question. What is the best defense against dinosaurs? Jeff Goldblum or Lucky Backpack? That's true.
Who came up with that question?
My brother.
What is Jeff Goldblum gonna do? He's just gonna charm the dinosaur to death? I don't know.
No, you see, life finds a way.
Life finds a way.
And at that time, the dinosaur phylogeny or the dinosaur family tree wasn't quite resolved to the point where it is now.
I just want to say that there has never been a time in my stream's history where such big words have been used. What is that word?
Phylogeny.
Phylogeny. Okay, cool.
Phylogeny means tree.
Really?
Okay, like family tree.
Like genus phylogeny.
Yeah. Right.
Can I say that?
I don't know, can you?
Sorry?
A genus
You kiss your mother
phonology?
with that mouth?
So a genus is what an animal is. So our genus is Homo, our species is Sapiens.
Okay.
So Tyrannosaurus is the genus, Rex is the species. I think first impressions matter a lot. And I think people's first impression with dinosaurs really does come from these Jurassic Park movies and Jurassic World movies and games and that sort of stuff. And when you see these things, you think, oh, wow, this is what a dinosaur looks like. And then when a scientist comes along and says, and it shows you like a demonic turkey, and says like, hey, look at this. This is really what a dinosaur looks like. You can't help but be like, what the hell? That is such a different take on dinosaurs. That's not what I think a dinosaur looks like. I'm gonna give all you Harry Potter fans out there a cool little Easter egg.
Oh.
Yeah. So Dracorex is the genus, and Hogwartsia is the species name.
Huh.
So it means Dragon King of Hogwarts.
That's amazing. So, if anyone's a Harry Potter fan in the chat, this is now your favorite dinosaur.
Dude, it was in the pubis.
Oh.
This is one of those Discovery Animal Planet shows.
Right, yeah.
Come win between the Triceratops and the Allosaurus.
Took out its mortal foe.
What we do know is that life is fairly conservative, especially when it comes to making these weird structures on animals. Nature will make an exception when it comes to mating. And so these elaborate things like crests and spikes and frills that you see in dinosaurs that have often been attributed to defense, or more likely they're for sexual selection because it looked sexy. Like Garrett's hair. If Garrett was if Grant was a dinosaur, he would be on top of the food chain right now.
Yeah. That pink hair, though. Right, so, okay, sometimes we evolve things that aren't necessarily practical, but damn, they're sexy.
So if you guys have thought that T-Rex's arms are pathetic, Majungasaurus belongs to a family of dinosaurs called Abelisaurids, and they have the most stupid arm ever. Like, it is just obscene.
Yeah, there we go.
So like, if you can take your hand...
That's what that looks like.
If you guys take your hand and you shrink it way down, and you shrink your forearm down, you'll just have like a little lump of flesh at the end of that. That is what Majungasaurus's arms would have looked like.
Ankylosaurus or Ankylosaurus?
I've always said Ankylosaurus.
I've always said Ankylosaurus.
Huh. Victor?
So I have a real soft spot for Ankylosaurus. And when I was a kid, I grew up in George, and we went to this one pizzeria, and we were friends with the chef. And
his name was Ankylosaurus.
He served Ankylosaurus on the menu.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually did, because he knew I was a huge dinosaur fan, and he had some knowledge of dinosaurs as well. And he would always make me a Regina pizza in the shape of an Ankylosaurus.
That's cool.
And he would shape the pieces of ham into pieces of armor, and it was just so cool. It was like, it just blew my mind.
What a legend.
Hello everyone, Garrett from Citizen Historian here. I hope you enjoyed the highlights from our Twitch stream where we play Jurassic World Evolution. You can find Grant, our gracious host, on twitch.tv/Grant Hinds. You can also find Victor on Instagram at Viktorsaurus91, and you can find me on Facebook at Citizen Historian. We'd also just like to thank our associates, the Center of Excellence in Paleo Sciences, the University of Witwatersrand, and the Evolutionary Studies Institute. Please go find them on social media, give them some support, some love, and we hope to see you guys again in the future. Let us know in the comments what you think and what other kind of content you'd enjoy. And we'll see you all around soon.